Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the colors. Welcome to the 6th Annual EMS Memorial Service. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order! Prepare to post. Post. Ready. Two. Right. Face.
Please take your seats. I'd now like to welcome Pastor John Bell. John is a retired UMC pastor currently living in York who provides pastoral care for Servants Inn in Red Lion. John has an involvement in and with emergency responders through his wife Marissa, who is an employee of Community Life Team, and through active street ministry with Bethesda Mission for a number of years. Currently, John has a son who is a disaster relief responder with Team Rubicon. John cares deeply for those who often risk their lives to come to the aid of people experiencing trauma and disaster in their lives. Pastor Bell.
Let us join together in prayer. Father, as we stand here this afternoon, we stand in awe of who you are, and we stand in awe of what you do in all of us. We come to you this afternoon in remembrance of the tragic events that took place on the morning of September 11th, 2001, now 15 years ago, when many have lost their lives, 2,976 people from 93 nations between New York, the Pentagon, and on Flight 93, and since then, many more. We pause today to remember that terrifying moment of horror, and we also pray for those whose lives are forever affected by those horrible and tragic events. Father, we remember before you those who survived. We remember their heartbreaking stories. We remember that their lives will never be the same, and our thoughts and prayers are with them again today. As our lives go on, we will not forget them. We must not forget them. We also remember this day 15 years later, those heroes who, without thought for their own lives, rushed in to help, to rescue as many as possible. And we know that you were with each one of them, and we are grateful for that. As we are also grateful for each one of them, and we honor them today. Many of those who were truly heroes on that day sacrificed their lives for others, and we will not forget. Father, we also realize that the days we live in continue to be difficult, and we still live with the threat of continued terrorist activity worldwide. And therefore, we again ask for your protection. We ask that you would give guidance to all of those who are in positions of power, and that they would have the wisdom to do what is right, and also to do that which would prevent a reoccurrence of these tragic events of 9/11, 2001. We remember, Father, that you continue to be the God of redemption and restoration. So therefore, once again, we come, asking for the grace to continually forgive those who have caused such devastation. May we follow the example that you have set before us on how you have forgiven us. We remember that you love the world and that you sent your Son to bring reconciliation and salvation to all who would believe. Reconcile us to one another so that we may each be a part of your reconciliation of this world. Father, we also remember today each person who, while serving others, has given their lives in the line of duty. We would ask that you would bring comfort to their families during these difficult times, and that they would be surrounded and supported by friends, family, and others. May they find grace in this place of suffering. And Father, for each person here on this day of remembrance, may we be among those who fulfill together your great command to be a people of love, to love you with all of our hearts, to love our neighbor as ourselves, and even to love our enemies. May we do it well. So in conclusion, Father, I thank you that you are present with each and every one of us. We are your children. You are our God and our Father. And so we praise you in the name of your beloved Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen and amen.
I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for coming. We appreciate everyone's attendance and the time and resources you spend to honor the EMS providers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. I am Ed Moreland, Chair of the Pennsylvania EMS Provider Foundation, and today's event is sponsored by the Foundation and the Bureau of EMS. As you may notice, in past years we've worn formal uniforms, and today we're dressed a little differently. We're wearing cycling gear. I want to acknowledge the over 40 folks, riders and support, who participated in our inaugural Pennsylvania EMS Memorial Bike Ride. We pedaled our way from Shankville Flight 93 Memorial on Saturday morning to here at the memorial service. And we ride to honor 42 EMS providers, brothers and sisters who lost their lives in the line of duty. I would now like to introduce the Honorable Raphael Bereshinsky, Deputy Secretary of Health, Planning and Assessment with the Pennsylvania Department of Health. I'm supposed to read your bio.
Please don't.
Okay. Thanks, Frank.
There has to be some modesty. Thank you, Ed. On behalf of the Secretary of Health, Dr. Karen Murphy, I wanted to welcome you all to the Capitol and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. Clearly, 9/11 holds much significance to all of us, as it was a day that changed America, it changed the way we look at things, and it changed our mindset. To say that it's one of the days that shaped a generation would be an understatement. I'm sure we can all clearly recall where we were when we heard of the planes hitting the towers in New York, hitting the Pentagon outside of DC, and we heard of the heroism seen over the skies of Shanksville. I'm sure we can also recall or know of someone who responded, who did what we all would have done if we were called on. I want to tell you about a man I know. His name was Dave Lamagna. Dave and I worked together in Newark, New Jersey. Newark's a place where they give you the test right before they teach you the lesson. Dave was a good medic. Dave worked in a few places, and he was always looking for an opportunity. And soon after I left Newark, Dave graduated the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Police Department Academy. Dave had been out of the academy for less than 2 months, and he was in Jersey City with his field training officer. They saw the first plane hit. Dave turned to his field training officer and said the words, "I'm a paramedic. They're going to need me there." He went to the World Trade Center site. He went in and came out carrying a man with some other responders. There's a well-known picture of him. He's in the background. Dave went back in, and he never came out. With these actions, he embodied all that is good with society, all that is good with us as EMS providers. I have no doubt that, given the chance, anyone in this room would have done the same. So take a moment to think about your own personal Dave Lamagna and some of the things that we saw that day that shaped our society that day. I just want to close by thanking you all, the EMS providers in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, for responding day in and day out in the most of professional manners. We should never forget. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce Richard Flynn, Director of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency.
Thanks, and I appreciate you not going through the bio. Many of my friends are here and involved with the EMS, and you know I've been involved with the EMS for quite a few years, and it's an honor to be here. I sincerely thank the foundation, and on behalf of Governor Wolf, thank you for what you do, and thank you for your service. And I have to wear glasses, unfortunately. Again, it's an honor to speak today as we honor the 411 emergency workers who lost their lives 15 years ago on 9/11, and those 43 Pennsylvania EMS providers who have since lost their lives in line of duty. 343 firefighters, including a chaplain and 2 paramedics of FDNY, 37 police officers of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Police Department, 23 police officers of the NYPD, and 8 emergency medical technicians and paramedics from private emergency medical services perished when the Twin Towers went down. This day, we also honor and recognize those in Pennsylvania that put their lives on the line every day to provide emergency care to the sick and injured, citizens and visitors to the Commonwealth. Again, I congratulate the Pennsylvania EMS Foundation and the Pennsylvania Department of Health for sponsoring this annual recognition and memorial service. Over 55,000 Pennsylvanians proudly wear the Star of Life on their sleeves, their t-shirts, their helmets, their bike uniforms, and their bunker gear every day. That Star of Life, created in 1973 by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, is a blue 6-point star outlined with a white border, which features the rod of Asclepius. Many folks think it's actually the caduceus, but it's not. Asclepius was a Greek mythological figure who's said to have possessed healing power. The 6 branches of that star are symbols of the 6 main tasks executed by rescuers all through emergency's chain: detection, reporting, response, on-scene care, and care and transport, as well as transfer to definitive care. When I taught EMT courses quite a few years ago, the very first night we reviewed what that Star of Life meant. And I wanted to share that simply from the standpoint of refresher for those EMS personnel here, but for those individuals that are not. As EMS personnel, you've chosen a career, whether it's paid or volunteer, that is one of the most rewarding as well as frustrating careers that exist. Your knowledge and skills are designed to save lives, and when that occurs, the tremendous personal satisfaction you have should be second to none. Unfortunately, there are many times that no matter what you do or your team does, a life cannot be saved. You must get past those difficult times to be mentally prepared to respond to the next call for help. EMS personnel see the best days of people's lives when, for example, they help deliver a newborn, and they see the worst days of their lives when they can confront a family who lost a loved one. Clearly, not everyone can do the job you do. You must be sharp in all your skills, you must show compassion and confidence to those you serve, and you must have the ability to cope with the horrible things that you may see. There's clearly an adrenaline rush when you hear the tones go off for a vehicle accident with entrapment, a cardiac arrest, or a building collapse. That rush is why many get in or stay in the service. However, the reality is only about 10% of all the calls we have result in those type of serious incidents. Although purely from a patient care perspective, that is the good news. Primarily, that's why you're there. From the EMS provider's perspective, if the primary reason you're in the business is for the adrenaline rush moments, unfortunately, you lose faith and you become disenchanted very quickly. We also unfortunately lose people as a result of physical and mental stress of the job every day. Divorce rates, suicide, depression, poor pay, as well as no pay. In addition to honoring and recognizing those that we have lost and to recognize the tremendous value that the EMS community provides every day to our citizens, I want to conclude with a couple of asks. Number one, continue to learn as much as you can. A lot has changed since I took my first EMT class in 1974. The more you learn, the more you will help the patient. Number two, take care of yourself and each other. Seek help when you're struggling after a difficult call. And finally, be involved with your profession. You are the experts. You are the ones that have the boots on the ground. You know how best to build this and design and maintain this system designed to save lives. Work with the regional EMS councils, and many of the directors are here. Work with the Pennsylvania Emergency Health Services Council and the Ambulance Association to make recommendations to government to improve your system. I'm proud to say that I too wore that Star Life on my sleeve for many years and proud to be part of the community that you all belong. Thank you for what you do every day, and thank you for your passion, and thank you for your dedication to Pennsylvania citizens. Thanks.
I'd now like to introduce Representative Frank Farry from the 142nd Legislative District in Bucks County, who's been working on first responder PTSD issues and suicide prevention.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. In addition to serving as state representative for the 142nd District out of Bucks County, I am in my 27th year as a volunteer firefighter and 16th year as chief of the Langhorne Middletown Fire Department. I was serving in that capacity, which resulted in this. Now, I can tell you early on as a volunteer firefighter, I learned we should be really nice to EMS because we never know when we're going to end up in the back of your rig. But interestingly, my treating paramedic for this injury is Kevin Williams right here in the back, and he obviously took good care of me, so thank you, Kevin. You know, as we think about and reflect on the incident of 9/11 and the corresponding times afterwards, there's a lot of time for reflection. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is one of the things we say to one another when we part ways is stay safe. You hear that commonly between police, fire, and EMS. Well, our job inherently is not safe. Obviously, we don't want to put ourselves in harm's way unnecessarily, but the job by its nature is something that's very dangerous. And one thing that we're not providing enough attention to is our safety in another way, and that's the mental health aspects of our jobs. We see people at their worst of times, absolutely, and we're the ones that are there that are trying to make a difference, whether it's saving their life or family member's life, protecting their property. There were 2 firefighter EMT suicides in Bucks County in a little over the last year. firefighter Redner, and firefighter EMT Redner, and firefighter EMT Hopkins. George Redner's suicide was August 1st of last year. His parents are personal friends of mine. His dad's in the emergency services, his brother's in the emergency services, and I made a promise to them that we would figure out a way to make things different, that we would develop a support structure for those responders that are in need. We know the people we serve shoulder to shoulder with many times. Some people can manage these situations and take care of themselves, but there's a lot of responders out there that's in need. And you know, we don't have a great system for where they can go to get the help that they need. We need to work on breaking the stigmas of it's okay to be upset or need a release after we see something very bad. So with that, some of the efforts we've put forth in Bucks County that I'm hoping can be a model that we can spread amongst the Commonwealth and this nation is we had a program that was conducted by retired Deputy Chief Yeager and his brother, retired Battalion Chief Yeager from the Philadelphia Fire Department, and it dealt with substance abuse within the emergency responders, but also the mental health components of it. We actually were able to tape that. It's currently in production, and we're going to actually ultimately have that up on my website, and I think it's worth the 2-hour watch. So we'll get the information out through your foundation and your association so you can spread that amongst your members, and they can take the time to watch that. Something else we're working on in Bucks County is a dedicated first responder helpline. There is currently training going underway by one of our social service agencies, and the person on the other end of that line is going to be a dispatcher, a firefighter, somebody in an EMS, somebody who's been in law enforcement, whether they're active duty or retired, and they're there to help you. They're there when you even have that down moment, and that down moment may not be because of something that happened in the street. That down moment may be you're having marital problems, you're having financial issues, whatever it may be. That stressor may not be tied to what we do, but because of what we do, there may be some underlying issues there. So we're working hard to develop that, because if we are not, as taking my first responder hat off and putting my state rep hat on, if we are not taking care of our first responders, if we're not taking care of the health and welfare of the men and women that suit up to keep our community safe, then we are failing as a Commonwealth. And the mental health aspects of this, the PTSD aspects of this are something that are being greatly overlooked. So one thing I'm going to ask of you is if you have an idea on how we can help or develop these systems, please let me know. I want it to be a Big 10. I want to get as much feedback as possible so we can make this system the best it possibly can be. So we look forward to continue moving forward with this process. What I found since I started working on this is there's a lot of folks that are trying to work on this across the nation, Code Green and other folks, but it seems like we're all on the road, but we're on parallel roads, and we need to bring everybody together to develop the right system to take care of our responders. So thank you very much for what you do. I will say stay safe. And please keep doing what you're doing, because what makes our Commonwealth a great and vibrant Commonwealth are the people that put on the uniforms and keep the men and women of our community safe. So thank you very much.
I'd like to take a couple moments to introduce several of our dignitaries. Senator Rob Teplitz, Representative Will Tomlin, Representative Mark Gillum, it's my honor to introduce Jack Glass, a board member of the National EMS Memorial Service, for the reading of the Commonwealth EMS providers who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Jack is also a retired City of Pittsburgh paramedic with 34 years of service and serves on various committees throughout the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Ed. In 1998, the United States Congress, through concurrent resolutions of the Senate and House of Representatives, designated the National EMS Memorial Service be held annually as the official EMS Memorial Service in the United States. The purpose of the National EMS Memorial Service is to honor those emergency medical services personnel who have died in the line of duty, and to recognize the ultimate sacrifice they have made for their fellow man. During the service, a family member or agency representative will be presented with a United States flag that has flown over the U.S. Capitol, denoting the honorees' service to their country, along with a white rose representing their undying love, along with a medallion signifying their eternal memory. As part of the service, each person being recognized will be represented by their state flag that is carried by an honor guard. After the last name has been read, there will be a moment of silence, followed by a last call and the playing of taps. The names of those who are honored appear at the National EMS Memorial Tree of Life. Pre-hospital providers are killed every year in the performance of their duties. An oak tree of life honors the memory of those emergency medical service personnel. On this tree are bronze leaves with the individual names of those who have died in the line of duty. The oak leaf has historically been recognized and accepted as a symbol of strength, valor, and solid character. All are common characteristics of these honored men and women. We now honor the following Pennsylvania EMS providers who have lost their life in the line of duty and paid the ultimate sacrifice to the residents of this fine Commonwealth. Will everybody please stand, please? Samantha Agins, Camp JC, Stroudsburg. Ethan Amsbaugh, Priority Volunteer Response Ambulance, Mount Union. Brenda Bauer, City of Reading Fire, Reading. Walter L. Bricker, Meadow Township Fire and Ambulance Company, Fanitsburg. John Buckner, City of Scranton Fire Department Ambulance, Scranton. Jeanette M. Christ, University Medevac, Lehigh Valley Hospital, Allentown. Kelly A. Conti, Critical Care Diversified Enterprises, West Mifflin. John Demkowski, Lackawanna Ambulance Service, Scranton. Bruce H. Ditlow, St. Joseph Hospital, Lancaster. Klein DeWire, Susquehanna Health System EMS Department, Williamsport. Kevin A. Ellefson, Medic Rescue Ambulance, Beaver Falls. Donald J. Felker, Collingdale Fire Department Number 1, Collingdale. Dale C. Francis, Lifestar Ambulance Corps, Quakertown. Michael Boz Garvin, Second Alarmers Association and Rescue Squad, Willow Grove. John M. Goodwin, Guthrie 1 Helicopter, Sayre. Thomas Gruen, Tuckahannock Community Ambulance Association, Tuckahannock. Richard A. Hartley, Derry Township Fire Police, Lewistown. Mark W. Hostler, Guthrie 1 Helicopter, Sayre. Wesley Hostetter, Lac Tuscarora EMS, East Waterford. Daniel E. Keller, Fayette EMS, Connellsville. Sean M. Kramer, Hamburg Ambulance Association, West Lawn, Hamburg. James S. Landis, University Medevac, Lehigh Valley Hospital, Allentown. John F. Ajico, Parkersburg Ambulance Fire Company, Parkersburg. Janice King Livingston, West End Ambulance, Johnstown. Herbert W. McKay, American Medical Response, Philadelphia. Daniel W. McIntosh, Bensalem EMS, Bensalem. Harry R. Moore, City of Duquesne EMS, Duquesne. Barry John Nagel, Silver Spring Ambulance and Rescue, New Kingston. Deborah J. Knoll, Guthrie 1 Helicopter, Sayre. Elwood C. Queen Sr., Irvona Volunteer Ambulance Service, Irvona. Ken Prunty, Tri-Community Ambulance, Monongahela. Patricia A. Riccobono, Lehigh Valley Hospital, Allentown. David Sauter, Leola Ambulance Association, Leola. Heinz Schultz, Emergency Care Lifestar of Erie, Erie. Edward E. Soper, HOPS Ambulance, Laraysville. William R. Spence, CJ Systems Aviation Group, West Mifflin. Ethel M. Sparrows, Willow Street Ambulance Association, Willow Street. Richard J. Stark, Thornhurst Volunteer Rescue Ambulance Squad, Thornhurst. Joseph M. Wagner, Monroeville Fire Department, Monroeville. John M. Watson, Moscow Volunteer Fire Department Hose Company Ambulance, Moscow. Kevin L. Weatherlow, St. Joseph Hospital, Lancaster. David A. Womer, Mount Carmel Area Rescue Squad, Mount Carmel.
Please stand at attention. Present arts. Order, arms! Richard Gibbons, Director of the Bureau of EMS, to provide our closing remarks.
Good afternoon. Thank you to everyone who's in attendance today. Deputy Secretary Bereshansky, Director Flynn, all of our elected officials, members of the State House and Senate, federal legislators, to members of the public. Thank you so much for coming out and sharing this brief moment in time with us today to honor all those people who have gone before us, but also to honor not just these wonderful men and women that stand before you today and that sit before you in your cycling outfits today, but the thousands of men and women in Pennsylvania who every day tirelessly serve our communities. The people that run towards the danger when everyone else is running away from it. A special thank you to Heather Shar, Ed Moreland, and the entire Ambulance Association Foundation, and everyone who continue to pull together such a great event, and this year compounded it by adding a bicycling event in to honor. I think they deserve a great round of applause for everything. Again, thank you to all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us today. I was privileged to start this past weekend with this outstanding group of folks in a little place called Shanksville at the Flight 93 Memorial. And they climbed on their bicycles, and I had the easy part. I led them about from here to that doorway and got them started on their ride, and I was winded by the time I did that, I think. And they rode across the Commonwealth to truly honor and raise awareness about EMS and emergency services. To honor those certainly who passed on 9/11 and who have since passed. And I want to share with you a little secret. And gang, we can't do it. Same thing as at the 93. We can't do it loud because, you know. But I want to share with you a little something. When they felt they needed a boost, they had a rallying cry. 1, 2, 3. Remember. 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 Remember that there are people in our community in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that every day rush towards danger. Remember those fateful events of 15 years ago that has changed everyone's world. Remember these people and everyone else that continue to do that. To those of you who are not in EMS, law, fire, present or past active duty military, remember that these folks are our nation's front line of defense. These are the folks that enable all of us to sleep better at night. These are the folks that every single day we rely upon in our worst public health emergencies, whether it be chest pain, cardiac arrest, or a disaster the magnitude of which we can't even imagine. These are the folks that rush towards that. Remember that the best way to have a prepared EMS system and be ready to meet those challenges on a daily basis is to have an EMS system that is daily prepared and operates well and has the support that it needs on a daily basis. Brothers and sisters of emergency services, the director and the representative and I did not compare notes before we spoke today, so that should lend itself to tell you how serious we are about what I'm going to say next. I want you to remember, you are different. I have a few examples, but I won't go into those. You are different. You are very different, and that is a blessing and a curse. It's that difference that allows you to overcome basic human nature and rush towards the danger. But it's that same mindset that causes you to say, no big deal, doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect me. It's that same difference that allows us to put up that shield that says, I can take it, I have to take it because that's just what we do. And I'm here today to plead with you that not only is it needed, it is mandatory that we change that culture in emergency services. It is mandatory that we start today, if we haven't started already, to not only keep ourselves safe physically, but keep ourselves safe mentally as well. We've got to understand that it's okay. I want you to, as I leave you here today, I just want you to think about something. Each of you in emergency services has the same challenges that everyone outside these doors have. You have bills to pay, you have spouses that sometimes don't understand what you're trying to do. I say that, don't tell my wife I said that. You have the same challenges. You've got kids you're raising and everything else. And on top of that, you subject yourselves to the worst that society has to throw at us, and the worst possible scenes and the worst possible events. You go towards them. It's not okay to suffer in silence anymore. Lastly, I want you to remember that your contributions to society can never adequately be measured. As they say in the commercials, it's priceless. Thank you for what you do every single day. You honor me by asking me to be part of your event today. It is a tremendous honor to call you my friends. Please go safely, and be safe physically and mentally. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for attending. I believe this is the largest crowd we have ever had for our memorial service. Immediately after this, if I could have all the riders and support staff meet me on the steps for a couple of photos, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, and hope to see you this evening at the dinner.